and welcome. Nice to have you with us on this Tuesday afternoon here on Mad Dog Unleashed as we track you down on the great SiriusXM 82. Eddie Erickson's in the house today as we take you home here in the middle of your afternoon. 888 Mad Dog 628 Sports Talk telephone number as we babble away and get you home here on a vacation week for a lot of people, but a work week for us, and we'll get you going here on this program. We'll do a little baseball later. Steve Phillips will make a early spring training visit. A lot of moves going on in baseball. We're going to get to a couple of them right off the bat. Big signings, of course, too, today. We have a lot of little things we can get to, whether it's Kirk Cousins, whether it's Olympics, whether it's the NBA All-Star Game. We'll do a couple of those things in the course of our next 3 hours together as well on this 20th day of February 2018. Well, listen, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal, and I don't know what sort of impact it will have as far as the dead time that is involved in Major League Baseball. It's going to have to be a wait-and-see proposition, and a lot of the onus will be on the umpire, and we'll see what the umpire wants to do with it. I know he's going to be directed by the MLB offices on Park Avenue to legislate this strictly, but again, remains to be seen how they handle that once the games actually begin. But a little pace of play deal as far as Rob Manfred is concerned in the last 24 hours. He did not go all the way with it. It's very lukewarm. It's not a major change. I don't think he wanted to implement what he could have been implemented, because remember, he's allowed, but the collective bargaining agreement with rules changes, he's allowed to do really anything he wants, but he didn't want to do that, I think, in the Cold War that has existed before, since the end of the season and today with free agency and who gets what and how much money's out there, and, you know, the fact that the players are annoyed that Tony Clark signed him a very bad deal with the CBA, and they're paying for it now with free agency, and so as a result, they're very, very ticked off. I mean, they're annoyed at baseball, but they're down deep, they're probably annoyed at Clark, and so they're in no mood to negotiate as far as pitch clocks and all those things. So I think Manfred, who's a deal maker more than anything else, I think Manfred saw the handwriting on the wall and did not want to, wanted to make sure he has the ducks in a row here before he goes out there and institutes drastic changes. So he took a couple of small steps, and he came up with mound visits, limiting them to 6, 1 extra in each extra inning that they might play, 6 for the game. He was pretty declarative as far as what constitutes a mound visit. And then, of course, making sure that the inning starts right after 2 minutes and 5 seconds. No dilly-dallying around, that the game will resume following a commercial break, whether it's a local game of 2:05 and whether it's a nationally televised game. I think that's at 2:25, and then the postseason is at 2:55. That they'll resume right out of the gate, and no messing around. And if, in fact, you are not ready to pitch after 2 minutes and 5 seconds, even though you may have not had your necessary warm-up tosses, that's tough. That's the way it's going to be. So, buyer beware. Once the inning is over, there will be that timer set up at 2 minutes and 5 seconds when the bottom of the inning or the next inning will begin, and whoever's on the mound is going to have to be able to throw the ball batter in the batter's box at that time period. Those are the two that he came up with. Again, I don't think it's that dramatic. I think the only way you're going to move baseball along a little bit is keep away from the relief pitcher. I think the relief pitcher is the biggest reason, and the accent and how good he is the biggest issue with the sport right now. You got a lot of anonymous relievers. Look at the free agent market this year. All of them signed early were relievers, whether it's Brian Shaw, Wade Davis, the list goes on and on and on. The reliever, went like crazy, hotcakes in baseball this offseason, and that's where the game is headed. And with relief pitching comes more pitching changes, comes less offense, comes more strikeouts, which means more pitches, which means longer games. They don't pitch to contact, they pitch for the strikeout. I mean, overall, that is the issue that you have to deal with more than anything else, is the advent of the relief pitcher in 2018 baseball. And until they figure that out, and I don't know how they're going to do that without, really upsetting the integrity of the sport. Now, I don't have a problem with it. For instance, making each relief pitcher have to face a minimum of 2 batters. I think that would curtail it some, where, you can't have the manager going back out there 9 million times for, to make 7 relief, to make 7 pitching changes and, of course, for top of an inning. And remember, the mound visit does not constitute a pitching change. If you make a pitching change, that's not a mound visit. So keep that in mind. You can make all the mound visits you want if you take out the pitcher. You can take out make 100 of them. So, and then they throw in the idea that the Player Association never wants to fool around with the September call-ups. And so as a result, you got that as a mess too, with games in September, with these managers having so many relievers at their disposal, and they can go out there and make a million. Until you fix that, I don't think any of this other stuff, to me, it's window dressing. Even a pitch clock, it's window dressing from that standpoint. I don't think it's that big a deal whatsoever. I know everybody in the last 2 days has made a big stink about the stealing of signs, and that's why you have to have a lot of mound visits, because of the intricacy of sign stealing and how elaborate that it has become. Baseball has tried to fix that too. They are monitoring all phone discussion or video operations, so they're going to try to keep the sign stealing through mechanics. You know, if it's player-to-player sign stealing, that's one thing. If it's an assistant clubhouse boy doing it, that doesn't appeal to baseball. We'll see how successful they are at that. They're also going to do something as far as the replay is concerned and try to speed the process along. Nothing is worse than watching them replay a play at first base in the third inning of a 0-0 game, 2 out, nobody on, and whether the guy's out at first base or not, and have the umpire look at the manager look at his video guy, the umpire then get the signal from the video guy through the manager that they're going to challenge. These 300-pound umpires walking to the headsets to put the headset on, and then take them 3 minutes to figure out if the call is a good call or a bad call. They're going to try to streamline that to making sure that all slow-mo video goes into that, basically into the trainer's room or some adjunct room to the clubhouse, and they can make that process speed along. Again, Manfred will have a press conference at 4:30 about this. Again, they're trying to do something. They understand that baseball, where it is right now with the younger generation, it's a major concern. The folks who really care about the sport know this. Yeah, folks who have kids know this. I see it all the time. The young kid is not into baseball. This generation is not that wrapped up in it. I had a coaching friend of mine in basketball tell me he had a big story the other day about some old baseball player who pitched in an all-star game, and he visited the college campus, and all the kids were there to see the old pitcher pitch. And I'm telling you right now, if you asked those kids to raise their hands about who Mickey Mantle was, none of them would have been able to tell you. And that's all you need to know. How do you not know who Mickey Mantle is if you're an athlete? But in this day and age, they don't. They know who LeBron James is. And they've heard of Michael Jordan, they've heard of Will Chamberlain, but they have not heard of Mickey Mantle. So, and I think baseball realizes that this is very dangerous, so they're trying to do everything they can to get these games under 3 hours. Right now, they're about 3 hours and 8 minutes, or something along those. Maybe it's 5 minutes, but it's in that area, and that's a lot of time to spend on regular season baseball games that last 6 months, and there's 162 of them. So they're trying to streamline it. Players don't like it. Players right now don't like anything the owners are doing. So you got to keep that in mind too. So that's the big topic in the last 3 days. More to do on baseball in a sec. Here on Mad Dog Unleashed.